Hey everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus a little bit of insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show in the world, coming to you live from the Stream.TV studios here in Hollywood, California. And apparently I want to wish you all a happy Zero-G Gravity Day.
Also here, one half of Schmoes Know, Christian Harloff.
It's apparently Batman Day. I cannot wait to go talk about this.
Also at the table, writer-director John Schnepp.
I thought we were all talking about Kate Upton in the Zero-G Jiggle Jaggle.
Yeah, Zero-G Gravity Video Day. That's what I said.
That's what today is, right?
All right, folks, listen, as happens sometimes, we finish the show notes and a new story comes up. Now, yesterday, we showed you that Zack Snyder, he tweeted out the very first sneak peek, still kind of half under the tarp, of the Batmobile. And he said, more to become uncovered tomorrow. So we're kind of expecting a shot of the Batmobile. Now, yesterday, some buffoon at this table, I'm not going to name names, said, wouldn't it be cool if they actually showed Batman standing in front of the Batmobile? To which I rightfully replied, Schnepp, you ignorant slut. You fool. You moron. You optimistic nerd. Of course they're not going to show Batman standing in front of the Batmobile, and of course I was right. Oh wait, I was wrong.
See, guys, in my amazing, just my brain, I don't know how it's magical how it works. I was going back to Michael Keaton, and how a lot of people were like had problems with Michael Keaton being cast as Batman. This is a lot before you guys were born. This is like back in 1988, and how they premiered him as Batman is I think it was an Entertainment Weekly. They premiered it in a magazine, a weekly magazine. This is before the internet worked.
It was made with paper.
Yeah, paper.
Yeah, old
papyrus
stuff.
from trees. But it was Michael Keaton in the full black outfit with the Batmobile, the really badass Tim Burton style Batmobile. And so, for some reason, yesterday when I saw that back end part and we were talking about it looks like the Tumbler and a little bit of Burton's Batmobile, I was like, wouldn't it be cool? I didn't think they would do it, but it makes sense.
No, own it, man, own it. Say you knew.
Guys, I totally knew it was going to happen.
So let's bring up that picture. We're sitting here. Let's take a look at this picture. Dear heavens.
Yeah, so cool.
Dear heavens. How cool is that? Now, let's keep everything in perspective. Everything in perspective. We are talking about a picture, all right? So let's not get carried away. Let's not start talking about how awesome the movie's going to be and all this. We're talking about the picture, okay? But in talking about the picture, number one, Kevin Smith was bang on accurate. Remember a few months ago, Kevin Smith said he saw, Zack Snyder let him see the design of the outfit and he saw the costume and he described it to a T. That is so old school, classic Batman. It's really got a Dark Knight Returns kind of feel to it. I like the shorter, stubbier ears. Affleck obviously fills out the outfit. I mean, if you've seen some pictures that have been leaking out lately of Affleck in his daily workout routine, this guy is yoked.
Beast mode.
Is so beastly right now. Okay, well, let's talk about the Batmobile for a second. You guys take a look at the car. You're going to get a glimpse of the car. What do you guys think?
I think the car looks, from when they released the car yesterday, I was like, okay, good. Like the design so far. And then, like Mr. Schnepp said, then they released Batman today. And that was the thing. Because, again, you're right. It's just a picture. But let's look at even when the Green Goblin pictures came out. People right away, there was half and half people did not really like the way Dane DeHaan looked. Everyone's raving about this because, like you said, it looks to me, this reminds me of the video games as well, too, Arkham. You're looking at, and Affleck needed to look like Batman. He does.
Yeah.
And what's he thinking about? Right now, you know what's he thinking about? Like, for me, it looks like he's sad that he's got to fight an alien. He can't figure out how to beat this alien. I cannot wait to see what happens.
That's exactly what I thought when I looked at his face. He's thinking, how do I beat this alien?
That's right. Yeah. I'm 1950s Batman. There are aliens, and I must go to their planet.
Soups. Got to beat Soups.
I think it looks fantastic. It instantly calls back the Dark Knight Returns with the giant bat symbol, the snubby ears.
A very subtle bat symbol too. That's barely embossed on the thing there.
It just looks completely badass, and it goes along with the kind of the beefy look of the Batmobile. It's got a bit of that Tumbler flavor, but it also has a little bit of style, you know?
Yeah.
More style than, say, the Tumblr. The Tumblr was just pretty much like, hey, let's paint it black.
It was very blocky.
Yeah.
And the Tumblr looked great
No, it
in
looks
Nolan
great.
Field. Don't get me wrong, but it was very blocky. This still feels like like an armored combat
Yeah.
vehicle,
Yeah.
but a little sleeker,
Yeah.
some better
It's like a
lines.
mixture of both.
Yes.
And the other thing, too, and this is probably just a coincidence, too, and a lot of people have been talking about it, but the wheel on the bottom left, it almost looks like a Joker face, like meets Riddler.
Some people were writing that to me saying, did you notice that they had that
Yeah.
subtle... It's like, no,
I think
that's
it's
just an odd coincidence.
I think it's a coincidence, but it's
Yes.
a cool coincidence.
Yeah, the way the light is reflecting off the
Yeah,
treads and
yeah,
stuff like
yeah.
that. I mean, look, I'll go on record and say this right now. This is a far better looking Batman than we had in the Nolan films.
Yeah.
This is a far better looking Batman. And you know me, and a lot of people argue with me about this, and that's cool, but my feelings have always been Bruce Wayne is supposed to be, in the DC Comics, the absolute pinnacle of human perfection physically. And as such, if you look at any artist's incarnation of Batman, he's monstrous, he's huge. And I have always kind of, as much as I liked Michael Keaton as Batman, very special place in my heart, as awesome as Christian Bale was as Batman, my one complaint that I always brought to it was, that's great, but it just doesn't really feel like the Batman I grew up reading, stuff like that, when he's about 100 pounds lighter than I'd like him to be. I look at this is the Batman, once again, just visually, this is the Batman I've been wanting to see on screen my whole life. I mean, once again, I don't want to sound like we're getting way ahead of ourselves. We are just talking about the picture and just talking about the look. Yeah. I have no doubt that when the first pictures of Gal Gadot come out, she's going to look awesome as Wonder Woman. Looks mean nothing.
I don't agree that it mean nothing, though, because, again, I agree with you that looks like the best Batman as far as looking-wise. So it also means that creatively, what Zack Snyder's doing, then his head is in the right space and everyone else's head in the right space. So in regards to getting the look right at the step, is it the ultimate thing? I agree with you 100%, but I just think that's cool, man. We're good. Let's just now, what's the voice going to sound like?
Well, yeah.
Where is he?
Right. I don't think they're going to do the Screamo Batman. I seriously think, my hope is that Ben Affleck is just he's going to talk like Bruce Wayne, and then he's going to talk like
a little deeper,
but not like some exaggeration. I think that Snyder loved The Dark Knight Returns, and I read an article recently where he was like, I would have loved to adapted that when it first came out, and he's always thought that way in his mind.
He announced this film with a passage from The Dark Knight Returns.
This is definitely him taking a cue from The Dark Knight Returns, and they did an amazing The Dark Knight Returns animated adaptation. If you guys haven't seen that, Warner Brothers put out this amazing, in 2 parts, and then they combined it together. It's one of the best adaptations of a comic book animated that I've ever seen. It's fantastic. So I don't really personally, I don't need to see them ever make The Dark Knight Returns as a movie, but if we get some of that old Batman flavor, which is what they're doing, they're saying Batman was around before Superman, he retired, we don't know what happened, but that's kind of like, I think what they're saying with the Man of Steel, with him with the cape in those flashbacks, is maybe he's emulating Batman. I mean, that's what I believe Kevin Smith pointed that out a long time ago. But I think that this first photo of Batman and the Batmobile, now we have to wait 2 years.
Yeah.
That's the
now
bummer.
you gotta wait 2 years, and it should be. This should be said. You know, I've always, from day one that the announcement came out, we made our video about it. I have thought the casting of Ben Affleck, and I know I was in the minority. I thought the casting of Ben Affleck was genius. I think this is great. But I'm going to say this: if you're somebody who thinks that Ben Affleck won't do well as Batman, this picture should not change your mind, because once again, this is just the physical. If you've still got your apprehensions about how he's going to play as Batman, this means nothing, right? But I still stand by that I believe he's going to be great, and this to me is just a check mark in the pros and the cons aisles. This is in the pro con. I think even the biggest critics of Ben Affleck as Batman have to be looking at this picture and go, okay, I'll give it that.
Yeah,
totally.
Yeah, he looks like Batman.
All right, let's move on to the first official topic.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
When do we get the color version, yo? I mean, it's like, because now I'm like, oh, is that cowl like blue,
well,
like
that's
dark
the next
blue,
announcement.
or
The whole film's going to be black and white. That's the next tweet tomorrow.
That wouldn't be that bad. If it looks like that, I'd be into it.
All right.
It's actually a sequel to The Artist.
What do we got today?
X-Men producer Lauren Shuler Donner last month caused some stirs when she confirmed that she had been talking with actor Channing Tatum about the possibility of him playing the mutant Gambit in the on-screen X-Men universe. According to reports, Donner is now claiming it's a done deal and that Tatum is indeed our new Gambit. Donner said the following: Well, you know he's a rogue, Channing. He's a rascal just like Remy LeBeau, and he can handle the action, we all know that. He's got a really good heart because I know him personally. I did a movie with him. So I think he'll be great. If this is all true, what do you think of Channing Tatum as Gambit?
Is Channing Tatum my first choice to play Gambit? No. Is he my second? No. Is he my third, fourth, or fifth? No. But despite the fact that for a number of years I thought Channing Tatum was honestly was one of the worst actors in Hollywood getting leading roles. If you ever watched that film he did with Terrence Howard called Fighting, the fact that Terrence Howard was so good in that movie just really accentuated just how bad Channing Tatum as an actor was for the first number of years of his career, even when he started getting leading roles. But about 2 years ago, Channing Tatum started changing my mind. You could see the development in him. Even though he wasn't knocking it out of the park dramatically or anything like that, you could see him developing, and then he really hit his stride when he started doing comedy. You know, he did that little one with Kevin James and Vince Vaughn, The Dilemma. He had a small role in that. It's like, hey, he was actually really good in a comedic role. Then he did 21 Jump Street, blew us all away, and then he showed that he's got, number one, a great sense of humor, he's got no shame, and he's willing to do anything with that little part that he did in This Is the End.
Yeah. Right.
Like, can you see Brad Pitt reading a script saying, wait, you want me to get into a diaper and get on a dog leash and blah, blah? No way. Like, no disrespect to Brad Pitt. I'm just saying. And he's willing to do that. He has thrown himself out there. He's been training as an actor a lot the last few years. And you know what? While he is not in my top 5, I sit back now and I look at his physical physique. I see his development as an actor. You know what? Not my top 5, but it's one of those casting picks that I would go, I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. Schnepp, what's your reaction to this?
I'm happy to hear that he got the role. I mean, to me, I don't have a top anything for Gambit. He's not really one of my favorite characters. With Taylor Kitsch in Wolverine Origins, it was just kind of a throwaway. Like, they ruined it.
And I thought Kitsch could have been really good.
He could have been great as that character, but it's like, you know, I think Channing Tatum's going to bring that one thing that we now like about his acting chops, comedy. He's going to bring that comedic edge to Gambit. I think with that, that's the winning tip-off as to why he is the number one choice to play Gambit. Or, you know, I mean, and especially if you have to put some comedy into the role, he's the guy to do it. And Gambit seems open to that. So,
I agreed with everything that you just said, but I don't like him as Gambit. I agree acting-wise, yeah, and I actually do like him a lot as an actor now. He's won me over as well. The problem is, and I feel like every time I've been on the show, we've been talking about this, but he is, what they've done here is what Star Wars just didn't do. Like John Boyega, some people know him, but you're going to see him as a Jedi or whatever he might be, and you're ultimately going to recognize him as that character. Gambit is a character that a lot of people away from the comic book audience really don't know yet. So if it's a character they really want to introduce, putting Tatum in there is, they're just going to recognize him as Tatum, then it could be a throwaway again. If you want to make him recognizable, I think you put someone in there that you're not that familiar with, someone that's got the chops, an up-and-comer, or someone, again, that you've seen here and there, you put him in there. Again, Tatum was in G.I. Joe, he's everywhere. And you're just not going to be able to separate the two. So for me, I actually would have liked them to bring Taylor Kitsch back because I think he got a bad rap. I think he could have been really good. I would have liked to seen him return. So, yeah, but again, I won't be upset about it, but I just don't think it's the right choice.
All right, what's next?
It's being reported that original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo actress Noomi Rapace has joined the upcoming Will Smith film Brilliance. The story takes place in a world where a small group of people known as Brilliance are born with powers that causes unrest among the humans and is eventually instigated into a full-on civil war. Smith plays a federal agent with powers assigned to hunt down a powered terrorist, while Rapace is in talks to play a tattooed and pierced Brilliant, also accused of being a terrorist by the government. Schnepp, what do you think of Rapace joining Brilliance?
It sounds interesting, but honestly, I had to look it up this morning because Brian Bendis and Mark Bagley had did a comic book a few years back called Brilliant about superheroes, but it was more about like kids in college developing let's make superheroes real. So it was like it was involved superheroes and it was called Brilliant, but it wasn't Brilliance involving superheroes. So I was like, Will Smith as a federal agent with powers, you know.
Christian?
It sounds like Heroes the movie. It reminds me of Heroes a lot too. And again, it's maybe Will Smith getting desperate and saying, well, the superhero thing's big. Let's do a superhero movie. I don't know. It could be a lot of fun. I like Noomi Rapace as an actress, so I'm not overly excited about it, but it could be interesting.
Sounds like just another mutant movie to me,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they had that movie with Chris Evans, Push.
Push.
That was kind of the same thing. They just had that TV show. They didn't call them Brilliance. They called them Tomorrow People. That just got canceled to CW. And now this thing. Look, the thing to me though is, coming out of the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo films, Noomi Rapace had a really hot name. I was really excited to see what she's doing. Then she did that Sherlock Holmes film, and I got to be honest with you, I wasn't memorable to me.
She's kind of disappeared.
Yeah, and then she did Prometheus, and I'll be honest with you, I didn't think her performance in Prometheus was all that great. So right now, I'm kind of in the middle of the road with Noomi Rapace. Still, it's Will Smith going into what's comfortable for him, high-intensity action sci-fi.
He's already done Hancock, so
he did Hancock, a little bit of that. So I'm looking forward to it, but this news doesn't really do much
Also,
to increase
Alphas, another TV show.
Alphas, same
super
thing.
bad guys with superhero
Heroes,
powers, blah, blah, yeah.
All right, folks, it's that time of the show for Buy or Sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then Schnepp, Christian, and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
It looks like the classic Jean-Claude Van Damme action film Kickboxer is getting a remake and will feature former UFC champion Georges St. Pierre, who recently appeared in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and Dave Bautista, who plays Drax the Destroyer in the upcoming Guardians of the Galaxy. Christian, buy or sell a remake of Kickboxer?
I might be the only one online, but I'm buying it. I am buying it. I love the original Kickboxer. I watched it a bunch of times. I love Georges St. Pierre. I thought he was one of the greatest welterweight champs of all time. And to watch Bautista to play Tong Po, as long as they have the taped up with the glass on it, I'm in. It might be terrible, but I am in.
That scene where he gets his fists and doing this.
Yeah.
Hey, look, I am since I'm such a big MMA guy, and Georges St. Pierre is one of my heroes, and probably one of the 3 or 4 guys in the world my wife would leave me for in an instant if he gave her the offer. I'm all for this. Look, I don't like the idea of musicians or athletes taking leading roles in movies, stuff like that, because they're not real actors.
Yeah.
But let's face it, the original Kickboxer didn't have any real actors either.
And he reminds me of Van Damme.
This is going to be all in that sort of a vein. I think this would work fine. So for me, I'm going to buy it, Schnepp.
For me, I'm going to sell it. You know, I like superheroes, and if it was Kate Upton in Kickboxer, Zero G kind of thing, I'm all in. I'm buying that. But this, I'm selling it unless Dolph Lundgren shows up. Forget it.
Pound for pound, best fighter in the world right there on that screen. Okay, what's next?
Although Mark Millar has suggested that Fox is moving towards a shared cinematic universe with their X-Men and Fantastic Four franchises, it may not be happening as soon as we thought. In a recent interview, Fantastic Four writer Simon Kinberg said the following: "None of the X-Men movies have acknowledged the notion of a sort of superhero team, the Fantastic Four. And the Fantastic Four acquire powers, so for them to live in a world where mutants are prevalent is kind of complicated because you're like, oh, you're just a mutant, what's so fantastic about you? No, they live in discrete universes." John, buy or sell Kinberg's comments?
I actually buy his comments a lot because I've been saying that for a while. The moment you start overcrowding, well, put in Spider-Man, put in this guy, put in this guy. What makes a lot of these movies so special is the idea of the fantastic in the mundane. That sense of awe and wonder with somebody with superhuman abilities pop up. But when they become as common as quarters on the sidewalk, you lose a bit of that. And that's kind of exactly what he's saying there. Now, I don't think he was saying here specifically, no, you're not going to see Fantastic Four and XMen crossover. But he is saying we do face some very particular challenges with it. And I think he's bang on the money with it. What do you think?
Yeah, I buy it as well too. I'd actually heard this about a month ago that this is the direction they were going, and I agree with you because the thing is, we also don't know the direction where X-Men's going. The movie comes out soon.
What's Apocalypse going to be?
It might not work but again, like you said, if it all pans out, maybe in 10 years, because they also don't know if Fantastic Four is going to be successful.
Yeah.
If it's successful, then maybe then the sequel we'll see a blend.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy that as well. Like Fantastic Four, when it first came out in 1961, took place in Manhattan. There were no other superheroes. The Fantastic Four got their powers. People were freaked out by the Thing, like a weird orange dude walking around like screaming in the streets. That's what I want from the Fantastic Four movie. I don't need mutants hanging out. I don't need crossovers. I just want a good Fantastic Four movie. Let's forget about the other two. Let's get a good Fantastic Four movie first, and then a sequel, and then a third movie. So we're talking about 8-9 years from now, then do a crossover. I think the Spider-Man 2 is a good thing when you try to jam too many things all into one to create a franchise out of nothing. It's like, just make a good movie first. That's it. You know?
All right, what's next?
According to reports, Academy Award winner composer Michael Giacchino has been brought on to score the upcoming Jurassic World. Giacchino won his Oscar for the Pixar film Up and has also scored films like Ratatouille and The Incredibles and all of J.J. Abrams' films to date, including Super 8, Star Trek 1 and 2, and Mission Impossible 3. Schnepp, buy or sell Giacchino scoring Jurassic World?
I'm going to buy it. I blame Giacchino for making me cry in Up in the first 10 minutes with his maudlin music and like just heart pulling. And no, he's a great musician. So I mean, you know, he falls into that category for me, like Tyler Bates. A lot of different musicians who do tons of different scores that you might go unnoticed, and you're like, oh, that's right. Every single one of his movies has been great. So I buy it.
Yeah, and there's also, I'm going to buy this too, and there's something kind of fitting that he's taking over Jurassic Park, a score, of course, that John Williams did, because he doesn't get to tag along with J.J. Abrams anymore, because John Williams is now going to score the new Star Wars. So there's a little tit for tat going on.
Yeah.
But I know he's a wonderful composer. I'm looking forward to hearing what he does with this, so for me, it's a buy.
It's absolutely a buy. And I think John Williams is one of his biggest inspirations, as you can tell in the music from what he's done. And Lost was another one. Watching that, his music in Lost was great. So I think we'll wind up seeing him do a Star Wars film eventually. But right now,
well, John Williams is about 132.
He's pretty old.
Like that.
So
I can't see Williams doing 9 more Star Wars movies.
Giacchino is the heir apparent.
Yeah, Giacchino will take that over. All right, folks, it's that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Now, we're going to leave a minute or two at the end of the show to take some live Twitter questions. So if you're watching us live, tweet in some questions to us at AMC Movie News. But for now, let's get to the mailbag. Ashley, what do we got?
Oscar Garcia Contreras writes, "Hi AMC movie crew. I have become a great fan of your channel since September, and since I don't miss a show. First of all, today I saw The Usual Suspects, Judah John saying that this movie was in his top 10, and I loved. So my question is, Jedi Master John, what are the other 9 movies in your top 10?
Okay,
Thanks,
like many
good
people,
job.
my top 10 is an organic and fluid thing, and depending on the mood you get me in. There's some core ones that are always there in my top 10 of all time. So let me give you my top 10 of all time, okay? Here's mine right now. If you ask me 3 months, it might be a little bit different. Number 1 is Star Wars, and I just include Star Wars, Empire, Return of the Jedi all in one, okay? To me, that is the most influential movie in my life, greatest stories ever told, blah, blah, blah. That's, to me, number 1 all time, always and forever. Best there is, best there was, best there ever will be, a little Bret Hart there for you, is going to be Star Wars. Now, in no particular order, okay? These other 9 in no particular order. The already mentioned Usual Suspects, a little comedy called Noises Off. Look it up if you haven't seen it. The original Highlander. Yes, I said it. Ben-Hur. The Michael Douglas, or Kirk Douglas, as you say, Spartacus. Lawrence of Arabia. The Godfather 1 and 2, I just kind of put into one thing there. Lord of the Rings films, once again, all together as one. And then Shawshank Redemption. So my number 1 is Star Wars, and then the rest of them in just no particular order. Do you guys got a collection of films you'd say in your top 10?
I mean, a lot of ones that you mentioned, so I won't repeat them, but too, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one that always pops in there for me. Braveheart.
Oh, Braveheart's so good.
Yeah, Seven. Those are movies that just pop up right away when I'm thinking about it. Fight Club.
Yeah. I would echo Fight Club. I would throw John Borman's Excalibur in there. I would throw in David Cronenberg's Videodrome, and I would throw in Ridley Scott's Blade Runner. Those are like, you know, it's off the top of my head that I can rewatch once a year and enjoy them. So.
All right, what's next?
Emma Nagwit writes, "Hey guys, love the show. I was just wondering if you heard about the passing of H.R. Geiger. Your thoughts?"
Yeah, it was really sad here. The guy who, most iconically, that you'd most recognize him for is the design of the alien. I mean, but he also did, a lot of his art was like always the fusion of humanity and machinery and technology in like very horrific sort of ways. And he had this one great quote once. He goes, "People who like my work," I won't try to do his accent, "people who like my work, one of 2 people like my work, creative people and insane people." He goes, "So if anybody likes my work, they're either an artist or they're insane," which is always great. So apparently it was really tragic. He took a tumble in his home and then died in the hospital. So it was very sad. But one of the really creative, gifted guys in our industry has passed away. Schnepp?
Yeah, well, thank God I'm creative. I love
insane.
Giger ever since Alien. I have all of his books, Necronomicon. I've got tons of his artwork, posters, and I think he was super inspiring to me because he showed that as an artist, you can get really dark and creepy and nightmarish and still achieve beauty. So to me, it's a very sad thing to hear about his passing, but he'll live on forever in all of his artwork forever. Yeah. So I'm very happy to. And also, if you didn't see Jodorowsky's Dune, he did a lot of concept art before he got into filmmaking with Alien. Jodorowsky had found him, and he did a bunch of Baron Harkonnen's designs, and
Which would have been perfect for his style.
yeah, and in fact, David Lynch ended up borrowing some of that for his Dune. But there's the last interview of Giger's in this Jodorowsky, and like in his other earlier films, there's a few of his films which are really hard to track down. One particularly, the Necronomicon, a film about you go inside of his house and see all of his crazy sculptures. There's a Giger bar that's available that you can go drink in one of his crazy chairs in Japan, unfortunately. But so he's going to live on forever. So
Yeah, I would echo a lot of John's thoughts as well too, and I think that what he did and the artwork again for Alien is he really put something in the mainstream, especially at the time that they did, and like it was '75 or when it came out, like
77.
77. And so when that movie came out, what he did, and that you think about the Alien, you think about what he did as far as the artwork goes. That was really revolutionary too for the way he was putting out those certain designs and things to do. When that was released. Because it looked real, it looked crazy. The design, like you believed that alien existed, and that was all because of Giger's design.
And I want to say like a correction, like I said 77, but that's when Scott found him.
Right.
He was like that art that he was making was already very much Alien. He was like, hey, just make this ship, and so all that. I think the movie itself came out in '80.
Was it?
Pretty sure, but. Or 79.
All right, folks. Well, we said we'd leave a few minutes at the end to take a couple of Twitter questions. We're going to do just that. So, Ashley, what are people asking in the Twitter stream?
Mason McFarland writes, about how many times will the cast watch their movie in its entirety while on the premiere tour?
Probably twice. I've talked to a couple of actors and say, yeah, like the first time. Remember, a lot of people realize this. At a premiere, quite often for many actors is the first time they actually see their film. Mm-hmm. They think, oh, they're right there with the director every step of the way. Sometimes that's true, but for most of them, it's not. And so they'll do one or two, and then not really the rest of them.
Some actors don't like to watch themselves at all. Some actors, again, there are some that won't even watch it once. There's some people who say, oh, I saw a little bit of it. I was there. I don't need to see it. It's just the artist in them don't want to do it. So I don't know if there's a clear-cut answer to that question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I can imagine they wouldn't want to see it. Like, hey, I've seen the movie, or maybe there's some narcissistic actors I go every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably not. It's more likely they see it once and they're cool.
You could also be that person that wants to keep analyzing their performance to see what they can do next.
That's a big thing too. All right, what's next?
Aston Hack writes, buy or sell Zac Efron as the new baby Wolverine, given that Jackman's leaving.
No, I don't see that. I mean, I'm one of these guys, so I'm very big on Zac Efron. I think this dude is loaded with talent, and he will be a mainstay for a long time. But as a young Wolverine, I don't think we'll ever go young. I mean, ask me again in 15 years, that might be a different answer.
Or ask it in a better way instead of calling him Baby Wolverine. When the question is like, what about him as Baby Wolverine? No one is Baby Wolverine ever.
Yeah, no, I don't think we're going to see him as. I think he'll pop up in maybe like a Star Wars or something, but not.
I could see him showing up in a superhero film at some point, but not as Wolverine.
Child Wolverine.
What's next?
Dead James writes, what would you think of Johnny Depp as Doctor Strange?
No, I'm tired of seeing Depp in all these, look, I'm this crazy, kooky, different kind of guy. Right. I don't want to see, look, we went through this whole thing about the rumors about him being Doctor Strange, and just because they weren't true at the time doesn't mean that it couldn't happen at some point in the future. Maybe it could, but honestly, no, I don't want him as Doctor Strange.
No, it's just like he sees and he goes, oh, the character's name is Strange, I'm in. It's like we don't need Johnny Depp to do that. But plus the fact that we don't know how long Strange is going to be a part of this universe. You take him for a while. Johnny Depp's like in his mid-40s, right?
Oh, he's 50.
He's 50, yeah.
So I mean, he's too old.
And don't get me wrong, he's a ridiculously talented dude.
No, I don't.
Ridiculously talented
great,
dude.
But it's just again, the Doctor Strange, another kid, like we were just talking about with Gambit, a character that needs to be introduced to the universe too. Let's get somebody a little younger, someone that we can accept as this character for a while.
Not a 28-year-old.
Not necessarily, but 40 or so, yeah.
I'm going to say I don't mind the idea of him playing Doctor Strange. I wouldn't throw it out. I mean,
no, I wouldn't toss it out the window and go, this is stupid. But
he's had a bunch of bad career. Like he's made his bed. Now he has to remake it, so to speak. So he's a really talented actor. I wouldn't throw him out as Doctor Strange. He might hit it out of the park. He's 50. He can knock out 4 Doctor Strange.
Every movie he makes that doesn't have the word pirates in it flops.
That's right.
It's true. Anyway, what's next?
William Parcell writes, do you think cliffhangers lessens the enjoyability of the film and makes it feel like just a setup for the next?
No, not necessarily. Not if they're done right. Like if you can have a cliffhanger and yet still have a story that feels completed. I remember watching the first Lord of the Rings film, right? And the film felt like a complete film, but it still ended with, Frodo and Sam going over that hillside and seeing Mordor off in the distance. It's, okay, let's go. And then it stops there. And some people who had no idea about the books are like, what?
Right.
But to me, that was a great example of a very complete film, yet it had a cliffhanger. I think the last Hobbit film was the same thing. It felt very complete to me, but that cliffhanger of Smaug going off to the town that he's going to rip apart, so you can do it right.
Yeah, sometimes it serves. Look at Inception. It
Yeah.
It serves the movie in general. I do think that a lot of times that studios will just grab it and say, "Oh, here comes the sequel." Sometimes it's absolutely true, but I don't think it's not the case every time.
Or the best one in the planet right now is the Empire Strikes Back.
I was just going to say that next.
That's that was like a perfect cliffhanger because you can't wait to see the third one, yet you must. 3 years.
But it was still
But it's a
completely
complete film,
satisfying
right?
as an own individual film. Yeah. Okay, let's take one more.
Okay, J.C. Collins writes, what does Power Rangers need to get you excited about the remake?
Cancellation.
Look, I've said this before, but I will reiterate. I do think this is a stupid idea by Lionsgate. The last film made $9 million, and even though I keep bringing that up, I get a lot of people emailing me excuses for no. $9 million is $9 million. That's the number. That's how much it made. That's how badly people wanted to see it. It was a $9 million film. But that being said, I have still said that the core mythology of Power Rangers, notwithstanding the putties, notwithstanding them, the core mythology of the Power Rangers is actually pretty cool. And if Lionsgate takes this, Alicia Malone mentioned this the other day too, if Lionsgate takes that core mythology, gets away from the childishness of it, goes a little darker in tone, and adapts the same tone that Lionsgate has had great success with in their teen hero kind of series, whether it's Catching Fire, whether it's Divergent, whether it's something like that, and apply that, you could, and they are willing to tick off the fans of the originals. This is the big ball check.
Right.
If Lionsgate's got the balls to say, we are willing to annoy the fans, the diehard fans of the original TV series, because we'll think they'll like this once they give it a shot, and they go in a totally different direction using that core mythology as its base. Look, as much as I said it's a stupid idea, and I still believe it is, you could have something there. They could do something really cool there if they're willing to be gutsy with it. What do you guys think?
I mean, look, I could eat crow, and this thing could be good if they do that. If they change the tone of it all, because for me, I'm one of the biggest advocates for the He-Man film. I think that if they mix both like a Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars for He-Man, it could really work. And the original cartoon had a guy and a tiger running around with a silly costume. So could it work from the mythology? Yes, but again, it's the same thing we always talk about: team, tone. But they have a huge hill to climb.
Big hill to climb.
If they're all in the pink Power Ranger, red, green Power Ranger, the suits, doing that kind of stuff, failure. If they try something new, they have a chance of getting a new audience. Like you're talking, even going into the young adult world, trying to attack that area, that's better. I mean, I'm not trying to say, the old Power Rangers is horrible and that people who love Power Rangers now.
No, not at all.
I'm
That's
just
not what
saying
we're
it's
at all.
it needs a refresher, and in order for it to be a hit, they can't go back to that well.
Right.
So.
Right. I agree. Yeah. All right, folks, well, that'll do it for us today on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, lots of great films playing at AMC Theaters right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for your theater, showtime, and movie ticket information. Make sure you click the thumbs up button on this video to make sure, it lets us know that you like what we're doing here. And if you haven't done so already, click the subscribe button. And listen, if you want an audio-only version of this show or most of the other shows we do here at AMC Movie News, look in the description of this video and you'll find a link to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. And listen, you can also find us on TuneIn as well. We're one of the feature stations on their entertainment section. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting to my right, Mr. Christian Harloff. Christian, where can people find you online?
Right here, I guess on AMC today at 2 o'clock for Jedi Council.
Yeah, we're doing, if you're a big Star Wars fan, we're going to be doing Jedi Council today at 2 o'clock. Should be a lot of fun. We'll be on, then it'll go up on our YouTube channel, pre-recorded tomorrow night.
Oh,
so
okay,
just so
cool.
you know.
Okay, and then you can also find me here on YouTube. Just do a search for Schmoes.
Schnepp, where can people find you?
You guys can find me Instagram and Twitter at John Schnepp. I just heard about the Gravity 2 casting. Kate Upton is going to be in Gravity 2. So I'll be, me and Ashley Mova, who likes the Jiggly, she was telling me earlier, we're going to be watching that movie in about 3 years. See you guys later.
If we gave names to our episodes, this would have been, for Tuesday, May 13th, the Jigglies. And of course, our lovely host today, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you online?
Oh, goodness. You can find me on Twitter at Ashley Mova. Hey, Day. Happy Kate Upton Jiggly Day.
And you can find me on all the various social media channels, just at John Campia. Thanks a lot for joining us, guys. My name's John Campia for AMC Movie News. And until next time, bye-bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.